All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Discover Your Potential podcast. Today we have a powerhouse of a woman in finance, Melissa Gielnik. Melissa, thank you for joining us. I'll just go over very quickly who you are to the audience so they understand why you're sitting in front of me.
Thanks, Ty.
So Melissa is a powerhouse in the finance industry and she dedicates to streamlining the lending process and delivering an exceptional client experience. As the founder of Smart Lending and a passionate advocate for women and brokering, she has shaped the industry through leadership roles with the MFAA, AFG Chairman's Club, and national panels.
Yep.
Melissa's expertise has earned her multiple prestigious awards, including Best Residential Broker for Victoria and Tasmania in 2025 and Best Customer Service Office for Victoria and Tasmania in 2024.
Yep.
Her commitment to excellence and empowering others makes her a true industry leader.
Wow, that's great. Thank you.
That's okay. So, Melissa, there are some amazing achievements.
Yeah.
Can you just quickly, there's a tradition on this podcast and it's asking a question of what does discover your potential mean to you?
Yeah, I actually thought about this question, and it really is about being an amazing human or a better human each and every day. So to me, it's about not only being a great business person, being a great partner, being a great mother, being a great leader, being a friend to my colleagues, and just absolutely doing all the small things to make sure that everyone around me is empowered and feels really supported so that I can be the best that I can be each and every day in each of those facets.
Yeah. So giving back to others first, that makes you
I think giving back always, you always get more in return, always. So people that are grateful also get more. Yeah.
Love that. Okay, let's go all the way back. So let's unpack some things because the audience
It's a really long way.
Needs to understand the story. Not that far. Don't say that. You've been in mortgage brokering now for over 2 decades.
Yes.
What inspired you to enter the industry to start with? And then was there any defining moments that I guess has shaped your career to who you are now?
Yeah, so when I initially joined the industry, I don't know if I was necessarily inspired, which is the really interesting part. So I started my career in economics and accounting, and then I moved overseas. I travelled for a long time and I came back, and my mum and dad were both in property. So my dad was an original broker and my mum was a conveyancer. So at this stage, I was a little bit lost. I wanted to go back to Europe like every 20-something does. And my dad said, why don't you come and work for me? And I said, I'm going to come and work for you until I get a real job. And that was like 25 years ago. Yeah. So when I look back at that now, it was just the start of something really amazing. So my dad then went on to sell his business, which was great for him. And I went on to start Smart Lending. So all out by myself, young, nothing to lose. The world was my oyster as far as I was concerned. I thought I was amazing because I'd learned all these great traits from my mum and my dad. So I went out, I said, I can do this. Yeah. And I opened my business.
Now there's a defining moment to say at a young age to start and say, I can do this myself.
Yeah.
Who and what empowered you to feel like you could do that? Because that's a big moment for someone.
It is a big moment. So I am one of these people that I will do it if you tell me I can't do it. So I grew up in Melbourne, in Melton, which is a lower demographic area. People necessarily don't become self-employed and successful, although I do know a lot of successful people from that area. And I thought, I can do this. And someone said to me, oh, you won't be able to do that. And I was like, and off I went. Yeah. So there's nothing better. I actually live for that when someone goes, you can't do that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. And off we go. Yeah. So I don't know if I remember that moment, but that feeling of going, I actually can do this. Everyone should watch me. And then I just pour everything I have into it. So I'm one of those people, there's no grey. I'm either on or I'm off. Yeah.
But that's good because then your clients know they're getting all of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm either in or out. Yeah. There's no in between. Yeah. Good. And that's like life in general with kids, family, partner, in or out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point because, and especially in any relationship in life, that you got to give it 100% to see the true potential of it. Otherwise,
Yeah.
how do you really know?
And
what's
you
gonna
need to
come
water
from it?
your garden. So you water your garden, you believe in yourself. You know, I've had times where I veered off a little bit and thought I'll look at other ventures, and my primary business has suffered. It's interesting.
Yeah, where your
because a lot of
focus
people
goes.
talk about diversity and having multiple businesses and stuff like that. But my business, especially being so customer service focused, you really need to be there and be present.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Now, you would have faced definitely some early challenges
Yes.
starting a new business and obviously building a foundation.
Yep.
Is there any challenges that you can reflect on now that you might be able to share with the audience that I think it might be a commonality in most businesses out there that we could learn from?
Yeah. So I'm going to use a current example if I can. So my business journey has been such that it's moved up and down. I've adapted my life according to my family and my business has adapted with it. So we're currently moving through a big upshoot at the moment, and it's always, financial's always a challenge. It's always, you always want more. You want to be more impressive. You want to start with more staff as opposed to building those solid foundations as you go along. So I think when I look back at starting the business and where we are at the moment, it's very much about taking those small steps to get where you need to go.
Yeah.
And sometimes we want to rush ahead, and you can't rush ahead. You can't miss a step.
Yeah.
Because if you miss a step, the whole foundation comes crumbling down.
Yeah, and probably like we've had a couple guests where they say they start with the end in mind and then reverse engineer it a little bit of how you say it. Do you think that's important?
Yeah,
or-
it is. I know exactly where I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Perfect.
know
Clear
exactly where I'm
vision.
going, what I'm doing, very clear on my vision. It did take me a couple of years. Over the past 2 years, I've been thinking about this and what I want it to look like. And I'm very, very clear now. And I think when you get that clarity, you have that drive and the momentum just builds.
Yeah. I can already see something that I'm going to say, and I believe this is crucial to everything. And I heard this the other day, that energy is the biggest transaction you'll make in life.
Yeah.
And I can see your energy just now, just how much clarity you have moving forward.
Oh,
That's so compelling.
it is. And the love of what you do. Like our lives are short. You need to get up. You need to do something you love. I bounce out of bed in the morning. I love going to work.
Yeah.
So, public holidays, I'm like, I've got to have a day off. I do for my family and we spend time together. But then I'm happy to work till 10 o'clock at night. It's something that I enjoy. And I've had friends say to me, you should get a hobby. And I'm like, I have hobbies, but I love work. I used to feel embarrassed by that.
Yeah.
I used to feel like there was something wrong with me. Like I was a little bit ashamed that I loved working so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not anymore. I've grown into that.
Do you reckon that's changed though culturally as well over the
Yeah.
last few years? I think, I don't know, I remember growing up and it was a very 9 to 5 culture and it was suit
I
and
think
ties and-
social media's changed it.
Yeah.
I think being able to see millionaires and billionaires and people succeeding and people flying business class and people not being ashamed of those things and working hard for them, I think that's changed the culture.
Yeah.
Because, if I go back 15 years ago and I was a young mum, had a business and I had a husband and things like that, I was frowned upon sometimes, and I've got great school mum friends, but I was a school mum friend that always worked.
Yeah.
And so when they would go for brunch on a Friday, I was at work. And they're like, she's working. That's okay. I'm fine with that. And I still have
Yeah,
great
I
school
love
mum
this.
friends.
I love this because I think we're in a world now where, females and males are very equal and it's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Because what you're just saying, some mums frown upon that you're working.
I always
That's
felt
a
very
culture thing.
judged. I
It's
felt
a
very
culture thing,
judged.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And we need to shift that culture to understand that. And I mean, even here, like you would have seen on the Gold Coast this morning, but there's a lot of flexibility to how you can work now to get the best out of yourself.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always have to be in certain hours or so forth.
No, and I think COVID and again social media changed all of that, and it is for the better. So, it's interesting, but I'm no longer embarrassed about wanting to work, ashamed about being a workaholic, and I don't even look at myself as a workaholic. I'm just driven and I know where I want to go, and it's really important for me and my family that I get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Love it. Now, you're a strong advocate for streamlining the process in mortgaging.
Yeah.
Now, Why is that? And have you noticed a gap in the industry when you entered it to now as well? Is there?
Oh, look, the industry, Ty, has changed so much. When I first started, the banks used to pop out to our office to collect our loan applications, or we'd stand there and we'd fax them through. I don't know. Do you even know what a fax is?
I do know, but only just.
Whereas now everything's really streamlined. We adopt technology early. I like technology. I like AI. I really believe in marketing. Like, there's so many things that when I first became a young business person, we didn't do that we do now. And I wouldn't change any of them. And I think that as you grow as a person, as you grow as a business owner, you learn about those things, and bringing them into your business is really important.
Yeah. I also think too, now going back to what you've just won as a couple of awards, best customer service and then best residential
That's a big
broker.
one. The customer service is a big one. That's probably... I've won so many more awards than what you've mentioned. In fact, being the first and only ever female to win Credit Advisor of the Year nationally. But the Customer Service Award is a team award. It's about what my team deliver each and every day to each and every customer. And we streamline the process so that each and every customer is different, but the actual process is the same, and the customer always gets the best experience. And that's what I built my business on.
What is customer service to you though? Like, if you strip it right back, what do you think
It's about making each and every customer feel like they're your only customer, giving them a tailored financial solution that works for them. And I've always worked on the ethos, and my girls hate this in the office. I will only do for a customer what I would do for myself in their shoes. So if I was in financial hardship and I had to go to 12%, would I do that for me? Is that what I would do? And could I do it? And if the answer is no, we can't help the customer, because I won't put someone into financial hardship. So, and at the end of the day, we do finance, we build wealth, we get people into their first home, but essentially we sell them a solution to their problem.
But you're also human. Like, if you're not going to let them do that, like, you know, it's because you can't live with that guilt yourself by advising that as well at the same time as selling that, you know?
Yep. And I have, you know, we really bring in our morals. We have our, like, you know, our ethical standards. You know, we really believe in those things. Like, we want to do for the customer what we do for ourselves. If we wouldn't do it, we're not going to do it for someone else. And it's really important, like, to be, you know, responsible and care about them. So empathy is a really big part of what we do as well, because not everyone comes to us with millions of dollars to invest and to grow their wealth. People come to us with problems. Yeah.
Look, I think looking back, what has really harnessed where you've discovered your potential? Like, where was it that you've sort of gone, you know what, like, I've got it, I know what I can do? Is it maybe a client said something to you, or is it maybe even in the workplace with your team?
Look, I think I'm going to say that even though I was an early starter in business, I was a late starter in growing up.
Okay.
That sounds so weird. I remember one guy, Steve, said to me, I would have been about 37. Okay, so we're not young at this stage. And he said to me, "You've really grown up in the last couple of years." And I was like, okay. I am quite jovial. I enjoy a laugh. I think in my office, I'm the funny one. Okay, as well as the boss. No one else agrees. But it was really growing into myself. And not only, it was harnessing my power, my understanding my potential, understanding where I wanted to go. When I was a younger broker running a younger business, and back in 2014, my business was a lot bigger than it is right now.
Okay.
I was probably a bit more flip-floppy.
Okay.
Yeah. That's probably a good word for it. Whereas now I'm structured. I know where I'm going. I have the process. You know, I even have my own personal growth consultant, like someone that I go to.
Good.
And these were all things that I learned along the way. So when you kind of understand what you need, you get to where you need to go. And now's my time. Yeah. Now's my time. And I'm full of energy. I feel like I'm 20. I'm ready to go.
I mean, what a warm-up. Wow, watch out.
Yeah. And like, you know, I downsized my business for my family because, again, that was important to me. I wanted to be the most present parent I could be. I did run my business as well, but it wasn't at the scale as what I wanted it to be or where it's going to go now. So it kind of idled for a little while I raised my real children, and now my fourth baby's ready to go.
Okay. Let's just talk about this because this is going to be very important for a lot of women out there listening to this. I think also to males understanding the role of, the women in the family.
Yeah.
Please help me understand that you mentioned something, how you put your business on hold for your family.
Yeah.
Please unfold that because that's a big thing to do.
It's such a
and
big
you've got to
thing.
sacrifice in life some things. But understand that journey for me and help me understand why that was the case and what you had to do at the time.
So in 2012 to 2014, I would have been one of the biggest brokers in Australia. It was a time we were smashing it. We were writing a lot. Now, when we were writing a lot then, it's not what it is now.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
But back then, the average house price was like $400,000.
Yeah.
So when I say we were writing a lot, they were big numbers.
Yeah.
And I had 3 kids. So I had 14, 8 and 6. I got divorced when my kids were like 4 and 2, and I had a nanny. I had all this help. My parents, my ex-husband's he's amazing.
Yep.
Everyone was around me, but my kids were sitting at the window at night waiting for me to come home. And especially my son, he would sit and wait. And it was, I kind of looked one day and I thought, I'm doing all of this for them, but I'm not there. And it was only, probably, a year, and you do get mum guilt. I'm probably not a big mum guilt person because I kind of go, well, I'm doing this for you and we need to, all put in and stuff like that. But there were things that my kids needed that you can't get your parents, your ex-husband, your nanny to give them. And that was my personal choice. Not everyone believes that. I know lots of really amazing working mums, but for me, I wanted to be there. So I actually downsized my business by 14 staff. Went back to a team of 5.
Yep.
We then selected the customers that we wanted to work with. So with all of that comes you've got all this work coming in and no one to service it. So back at that time, we were doing a lot of construction loans.
Okay.
We do development loans now, but we don't necessarily do a lot of construction loans.
Okay.
So it was an industry that I was happy to exit to focus on your purchases, your refinances, things like that. So I downsized the business to be at home more because I couldn't run a big team at work and a team at home.
Yeah.
I had to choose a team.
Yeah.
So my business still ran. It provided a great life. We've traveled.
Yeah.
I look at some of the companies now that were the same size as me then.
Okay.
And they're enormous.
Yeah.
And I do.
Yeah, but don't. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do. That's okay. I'm coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that drive though. That's a good thing to look at, I think. But also don't be guilty of that because you've raised a beautiful family.
Oh,
too.
no,
So
I'm not.
and that's the best thing.
But
in
I'm
life.
coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. Look, I think you're a big advocate for women in finance.
Yes, I am.
And
Yeah.
and that's a beautiful
And it's
thing
because we're such a small percentage of the market.
Can you share what that percentage is?
Yeah, so pre-COVID it was at its highest at all time. It was at 26.5%.
Yeah.
So if you imagine 1/4 of my industry is female.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is. Look, it's a very demanding, high-stress job. It's a job that I'm on all the time. It's a job that I think that if you were a little bit adverse to stress, it would really deplete you.
Yeah.
I've got some really good, again, through my career learning tools of the trade. I'm happy to turn my phone over when I get home and not look at it.
Yeah.
I can go hours without looking at my phone.
Yeah, that's good.
And a lot of people can't do that.
Yeah.
And people worry about things that they can't control. So I don't worry about the things that I can't control. I fix the things that I can control.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, they're learned skills over time. I feel like so much of my, early career has led me to right where I am now. Yeah.
Obviously with 26%, that's not a lot.
No.
Do you think that's because it was typically a bank world and it was made up of males back you know, how
Yeah.
like we're going
So the
back
number's
20,
actually
30
gone
years?
down since COVID. So the number's at about 22
Okay,
now.
okay.
So during COVID, mums resumed the role of, especially I'm Victorian, especially we were locked down. So a lot of mums had to become teachers. They had to look after their family. We were all locked in our houses.
Yeah.
So the number decreased. I think it's very much because it is, or broking was always seen as very male. And it was the middle-aged banker who became a broker.
Yeah.
That was my dad.
Yeah.
He was a middle-aged
yeah,
banker who became a broker.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's this whole, new surge of entrepreneurs and people wanting to create financial literacy and help people in the market, coming to the forefront. But again, the ones who are really super driven, the majority of them are male. It's a job where you can be remunerated really well, but you put in the hours.
Yeah.
But it's like anything.
But also too, like I work in real estate and I chat with buyers every single day. They still don't know, and it's not their fault, but a lot of people still don't know that what a broker does.
Isn't that interesting? Because we're now 73% of the market. So 73% of mortgages are acquired by mortgage brokers. So we try with smart lending to get out on TikTok, which is like, it's not my thing, but I've got a lot of TikToks.
Adapt. You got to adapt.
I'm so adaptable. We do TikToks and things like that. But we try and get it out there on social media. It's one of those things that you only go to a broker or want to know what a broker is when you need a broker. Like everyone knows what a real estate agent is because you see your boards everywhere and things like that. You only use a mortgage broker when you need one. And usually if you're cultured to, your family sends you to the bank, you go to a broker when the bank can't help you.
Sure.
So which shouldn't be the case because brokers can provide so much more than the average bank. Remember, the bank provides one product, their product.
Yeah.
We provide like 30 products.
Yeah.
And government schemes and things like that. Yeah. So it's interesting though that you think the majority of people don't know what a broker does.
I think it's just an education piece. I think it's just understanding that if I'm going to start looking at buying a property, who do I start talking to? Like I recommend to anyone to engage a broker right from the moment you start thinking.
Absolutely.
Because if you go and do all this education about what you want to look at, what you want to buy, it's like going to look at the diamond before understanding you need a certain amount of money to go and buy that diamond, or where do I start talking about diamonds and so forth. Like it's like looking at a house and then not understanding to go to yourself first and say, well, how do I get to that position as well? Because it's tough. It's very tough, especially out there at the moment.
And brokers can do so much for you. Like we literally, our job is to guide you through the process.
Okay, beautiful.
So if you actually go to a broker first, we would guide our client through the process. The part of paying a deposit, I mean, how many times have you had clients say to you, oh, Ty, I'm going to pay 10% deposit, and they don't have 10% deposit. Like we say to our clients, don't offer deposit you don't have.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, aren't you going to give it to us? And we're like, no, not until settlement. But why?
Yeah.
So it's actually like just the education around offering money you don't have as a deposit. Yeah. So we guide our clients through all of that.
That's another thing. We're very close to the border here on the Gold Coast. New South Wales and Queensland have two very different legislations behind.
So does Victoria.
Yes.
So I cross over all of them, and it's just about contract exchange, about the conveyancing process. They're same bit different. Yeah. So we're really adaptable. We get them all. WA is a little bit different yet again. So just in case you have any WA listeners, I won't say that they're on the other side of the
confusing for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not equal. It's not legislated, and the grants are all different according to each state as well. Yeah.
No, you've been a part of the MFAA.
Yep. The MFAA.
Yep. Can you just explain what that is?
Yeah.
And why you got involved with that at the time?
Yeah. So the Mortgage and Finance Association of Australia is a member body. There are two member bodies. There's also the FBAA. The MFAA were just the one that I self-selected into when I started in the industry. So people say to me, why did you go to MFAA? It's like my first bank account was a Dolomites account from Commonwealth. Okay?
Yeah.
There's no reason.
Yeah.
So I got involved with the MFAA. I started doing Women in Finance events, some of their panels, and then I won and no one expected me to win, and neither did I, the Mortgage Credit Advisor of the Year nationally in Sydney in 2014. It was the highlight of my career, literally. First female ever. I don't believe there's been another female since.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was amazing. So from there, I actually did a work-life balance roadshow.
Okay.
So the marketing team there got on board and they said, right, let's tell your story to other females. Let's promote you as a stand-up like poster girl of, females in mortgage broking because you can do it all. So people say all the time, you can't do it all. You can. It just depends on what all is. So all at the time wasn't me running the biggest business in Australia and my family. But I still have it all. I still have my business. I still have my family. I've got these amazing children who are, I'm going to say relatively well adjusted.
Yeah.
And they're just, happy in their own lives. And like my kids are still like 16, 17 and 26. So they're still my kids. But, I work my criteria and they can order their own dinner and an Uber.
Yeah, so, things can be a little bit easier now.
Yeah, it's a bit easier for me. Yeah. So when I got involved with the MFAA, it was very much about promoting females.
Okay.
And promoting work-life balance and promoting how I was able to achieve what I achieved while having a family. So from there, we did all of that, and then I was elected onto the board. So the board of directors, who the executives all report to, I sat on the board for 6 years during the Royal Commission, where we actually had to go out and actively bat for the mortgage broking industry. We had to protect our commissions. We had to protect how we were paid because the alternative was to move towards a fee-for-service model like financial planners went through, which means that if you came to me and you wanted a mortgage, you would have to pay my fee as opposed to the banks paying it.
Oh.
So like as a board and as an industry as a whole, we had to actually go and almost justify what we do each and every day, providing a great service to clients to the commission. And then we went through an ASIC review, a Sedgwick report, like we had all of these productivity commissions, everything settled down, COVID hit. I was very happy constitutionally to release relinquish my responsibilities and step off the board. I very much, I looked at things like I was a broker with one support person because the majority of brokers are brokers with one support. So there's 85% of brokers are small and there's maybe 10% that are medium and I would sit in this gap and 5% that are huge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's pretty big then. That's a big difference.
But you have to look at it like the 85%, right?
Yeah.
You have to go, well, the majority of our industry, how does it affect them? And so that's what I did when I sat on the board. I very much represented the members that elected me and, we made it through.
I mean, that's amazing because, there's two things I want to unpack. One, that you defined what all is to a person and having it all.
Yep.
And that's a really cool thing because you just said even though let's say the black and white material things and so forth, you said like may change along the time, but you always had it all the whole time to yourself, which is a good belief system. And I think then just before is that you've actually put yourself in the shoes of everyone to understand where the industry is going. Yeah. Because you can work within the industry and go along your own journey and just care about yourself. Yeah. Or you can look at it from a whole perspective and go, how can we really reshape this industry? Yeah. And for the better. Because there's a lot of rules and regulations out there behind things.
There are. I think for me, part of the giving back and part of the doing makes me feel part of it and involved. Yeah. So it's not necessarily about, it sounds terrible, me wanting to go out and serve others. It's more about what I get from it, which is the feeling that I'm involved, I'm part of it, I'm making a difference, I'm helping the industry and doing it that way. So with the belief system, I've always been one to what does success mean to you? Because not everyone in life's equal and that's okay. But, to some people, like to my partner, and he's amazing, success is having a happy home, beautiful kids surrounding him, and us being able to go on holidays. Yeah. He loves getting up. He loves his job, but nowhere near what I love my job. Yeah. He's like, there's something wrong with you. You're crazy. And I'm like, I love my job. Yeah. Whereas he enjoys going to his job,
Yeah.
different enjoyment. So he's not self-employed, but he loves coming home, making sure that we're all looked after. That's his form of success. My form of success is going out there and growing my business. It's going out there. Now it's changed because that's what I want. And I've raised these amazing kids. I'm still raising them. I'm not leaving them.
Yeah, you probably recognise the moment now that you can put the business and yourself first again and so forth and put it out
it's an
there.
easy moment, Ty. It's where they want to spend more time with my bank account than me. No, it's a time where they they're hanging out with their kids. Oh, they're not their kids. They're hanging out with their friends.
Yep.
They're going off to parties. They're just, I look at them and they're living their best life. Like my son got an apprenticeship this year.
Good.
He's living his best life. This kid's so happy.
Yeah.
And like I've been like a huge part of that, but I don't need to be there at 3:30 every day when he gets home from school.
Yeah.
So, and then my partner's like, well, I can do dinner and things like that. So I said, well, I want to work more. I want to grow my business.
Cool.
And they're all like, go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool because, again, along the journey, you've navigated priorities in your life to suit where it needs to be and what needs to get you there. So, I think it's really cool. And I think, like COVID, I probably want to ask you about that because I've been here in Queensland and we got pretty lucky, but it was a tough time for Victoria and still is. Like, I think even I look at it from the real estate industry, it is tough.
Yeah, look,
so how's it going?
Well, Victoria's in a bit of a mess with property. Like, even though our property prices, they increased, now they've come back a little bit. We've obviously got a lot of COVID debt. The government are taxing investors, so investors are exiting. Like, if you're an investor, you would not be buying in Victoria right now.
Yeah.
You'd be buying in Queensland or South Australia,
Yeah.
somewhere more solid. I'm going to say, again, very blessed. I had an amazing COVID experience with my kids. It brought us really close together. I've got a gorgeous little stepson. He came and stayed as well and, transited between the homes. My kids were at an age where they could self-school, so I didn't have to teach them. I would be a terrible teacher. Learn that now.
Yeah. Okay.
So we had an amazing, as a family, so grateful for that COVID experience. It might have been one of the best times of my life with my kids.
Wow.
Not everyone had that. So I'm very aware that not every family and not every child experienced that. And it's like success. What did it mean for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I am a naturally positive person. I wake up happy every day. Not everyone has that ability either. So the market in Victoria, we are trying to recover. New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, killing it. Victoria, not so.
Yeah. It'll come back.
Yeah, there might need to be a change of government, but it'll come back.
I've got people here at the moment going, oh, maybe Victoria's a good place to invest in. The prices are lower. And it's
great, but we've got land tax. We've got these taxes. On a $500,000 house, that can be $7,000 a year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to look at, your rental returns, what the property's worth, all of these things. So it's an additional cost. So the prices are low because there's stock on the market because people are leaving. So if you had like 10 investment properties in Victoria and you were, a family that had purchased those properties over time but didn't necessarily have high incomes, the land tax would be killing you right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one client, he's got 5 commercial properties. His land tax was like $40,000.
Yeah.
So if you're not earning that money, how do you pay it?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And they're just trying to claw it back through property.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. That's
South
good.
Australia is a great place to invest currently.
Yeah, but even look at that. South Australia was a market that it was forgotten about for a very long time. And now all of a sudden, again, a couple of tourism things and so forth are now being put on the map. It's flying.
And look, you go back to Victoria, go back 5 years ago, we were the most livable city in the world. We don't even rate in the top 30 now.
Yeah.
So
Need to reflect and have a look,
yeah, it's time for a change in Victoria. We need that change.
Cool.
But yeah, COVID was hard on businesses, on people. Not everyone, like I said, my experience was amazing, and it is the way that you look at it.
Yep.
So I appreciated. I don't like cooking. I cooked with my kids. We went walking, we hung with the dog, really simple things. that, because I'd been busy, I still did, but not at the same level of calm as what I got to do in COVID.
A time to reflect.
It was a real time. And also prior to that, I'd been traveling a lot to Sydney for my board work and stuff like that. So all my travel stopped. But yeah, not everyone had that experience. So
Yeah. But in saying that, what you've just said, it's about how you see it.
Yeah, it is.
And everything in life is how you see it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I see, even in bad situations, I can find the good. Yeah. So, and find the gratitude, because something might happen to you and it might seem like the worst thing in the world, but if you find the positive in it, the lesson's there.
Yeah.
But and I don't know, people go to me, how do you do that? It's just, that's who I am. Yeah. One of my daughters has that too.
Yeah. That's good. That's very good. Habits, routines, mindsets, anything that sets you free in your personal life that you could share with us.
Yes. So I get up, and myself and my partner get up at 4:30 every morning.
Yep.
He did say I wasn't allowed to say that because we sound crazy. We get up at 4:30, we get up, we go for a walk. We live along like a beach. We go for a walk down the pier. We get a coffee at 5 a.m. Come the end of the day, we're both frazzled, we've been busy, I'm on, a whole range of different things are happening like that. So we actually get peace and quiet together in the morning.
Good.
And I love it.
Yep.
It's really good.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So when the morning?
In the morning.
All the mornings. Okay,
all the morning, because you know what? Your phone's not going. The kids are still in bed. Like the dog doesn't even want to get up and go for a walk.
Yeah.
Like, so we get up and we have a walk. We don't necessarily do like 10,000 steps or anything. I think that, we clock maybe 4. But it's just
an
a time.
Enjoyment.
It is. And it's a time to go, oh, that thing that happened yesterday, did I tell you about that? And I'll go, no, because I think when I got home last night, I didn't hear you because I was so tired that whatever you said to me just didn't even register. Did you tell me that? So yeah, we do the reverse.
But you know what? Like, unless you're working with other countries across the world, when you're in Australia and most of your clients are there, most people are either asleep or doing the same thing.
Yep.
So it's a time to really understand you can reset yourself.
Yeah.
Because trust me, and I know our industry, you'll get a call at 8 o'clock at night and you are expected to take it or get back to a client. But in the morning, very rarely.
No one calls me at 5 o'clock.
No. And everyone out there, this is a good point because this makes sense now. But I got a text from you at 3:16 this morning. And I was like, oh my God, did she stay up that late? But no, you said you were just up and you were getting at it.
So you text me at about 9:30.
Yep.
I was asleep.
Yep.
So I come home. Look, I'm not a big TV watcher. I love podcasts. We watch documentaries or movies, but I won't watch TV every night. So we come home, my kids, like I said, are teenagers now. They're studying or in their room or out with their friends. They live upstairs, our room's downstairs. We go to bed early because we get up early.
Yep.
So when you messaged me last night, I just woke up this morning and I was like, oh, I better message Ty. And so I always think, oh God, I hope they've got their notifications on, so that I don't wake people up. I don't want to wake people up.
No, I loved it. I was like, oh my God, let's answer my question first thing in the morning.
See, I'm in Queensland, so that was 4:30 my time.
This is true. I know. This makes sense now. Work-life balance on road shows. This is an important thing, I think, for everyone out there, having that work-life balance. You've obviously talked about very quickly now that say that you're very focused on work at the moment.
Yep.
But understanding then your work-life balance, how do you... what's the mindset behind that? Is that just a mindset or is it a structure or is it...
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So first of all, I am really focused on work at the moment, but if something happens in my family, I'm there.
Okay.
So I'm still the mum. I'm still the rock of the family. Yep. I will tell you a funny story. I thought 10 days ago it would be a great idea to foster a dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here I am coming to Brisbane for 2 days, work's flat out. I've got all these things. I've got 2 new staff starting, and I'm like, let's foster a dog.
Yeah.
So we've got this giant bull mastiff. It's like a horse.
Yeah.
My partner rings me this morning and he goes, that might have been the worst decision you've ever made. And I'm like, we've only got him for another 5 days. It's okay, honey.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's going to be a lot of sucking up when I get home. But
Maybe.
it just shows you they still call on me for all of those things.
Yeah.
I'm still very much the mum, but the mindset behind it is my focus is on work. My family's picking up the slack. We've had these discussions. Does do my kids fold the washing as well as I do? Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They are great.
Yeah.
And I praise everyone in the house, and they look at me and they go, you're just saying that so we keep doing it.
Yeah, they think you're playing games.
It works.
Yeah.
Positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just about everyone doing their piece so I can get where I want to go. I sacrificed a lot. I never felt like it was a sacrifice. But now I've got something I want to do. And yeah.
Well, I think it's probably not a sacrifice, but it's a responsibility.
Yeah, look, you get to choose what you do, and
Yeah.
I chose to do that, and I'm so proud of the decisions that I've made. They've made me the person that I am.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I said, my business isn't as big as what it could have been, but I don't feel like it's suffered. And now I can retake off.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. And I think we're all energy. I think it's all about the way you look at it. I had my growth consultant yesterday. We had lunch, and he said to me, I actually don't believe in this, but I feel like you're manifesting it. And I'm like, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Yep. I see it every day, exactly where I'm going.
Yeah, I love it. I just said when I saw you this morning on the walk and we left, and I said to Tanae, I said, Melissa will be good at anything she does because
If I commit to it.
Yep. And because your energy and you're so compelling in who you are.
Thank you.
Like, you don't need to sell yourself, but you sell yourself through your energy and through your passion. And that, I just want to touch on that because that, to me, in business is huge. Like, I've understood now that it's not about really the qualifications you have. It's about how you connect with people.
Would you know, to be a mortgage broker, you actually only need a certificate 4. You don't even need I have a degree and I have a diploma, but you don't actually need one.
Yeah.
But the passion that I have for what I do, I feel, again, so blessed and lucky that I do a job that I absolutely love. Like, there's nothing that I don't love about my business. I love my team. I have the most supportive team ever. I very much empower them. But if I'm not going so well, they rally and they empower me.
That's good.
And I actually said to my mum the other day, I said, I had this moment and things weren't that great and I didn't feel positive, and I watched my team rally around, and I was like just uplifted.
You're a collective.
Yeah, it was actually, to look back and reflect on. It's a really proud moment. I'm really proud.
You've developed your own community within your own workplace.
I've got my squad.
Good.
I've got my team.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Love that.
Yeah.
Best piece of advice you've ever received in your career or life?
Ooh, wow, that's a really big question.
I know.
I actually think, so we were talking earlier about Mel Robbins and the let them theory.
Yep.
I think that if you need to let people be who they are, show you who they are. But you need to only control the things you can control, let go of the rest. Because if you try and control things that you can't, that are outside your realm, that you can't fix, you become consumed by those things.
Yeah.
So people will say, you're so busy, how do you make space? I focus on the things I can control. Yeah. So, and I think that's my biggest learning and the biggest piece of advice.
Good.
And if you don't listen to Mel Robbins, you should.
Yeah, she's a powerhouse, definitely. Looking ahead, smart lending, the future of it.
Yep.
How do you see the mortgage broking industry in the next sort of 5 to 10 years, and how do you play in that, do you think?
Look, the mortgage broking industry is going from strength to strength.
Yeah.
What brokers offer customers far exceeds what an individual branch or bank can do. So, you go into a bank, they offer you one product, brokers offer you the guidance, the education, the suite. I think broking is going to go from strength to strength. I think it'll become a little bit more digital as we move forward.
Okay.
Just because, the 20 and 30-something-year-olds, they are, life admin takes more time these days. People don't want to see you necessarily face-to-face. They want to connect with you over Teams and Zoom. Like, I can't tell you the last time I did a face-to-face interview with a client.
Wow.
We do Teams, we do Zoom,
Yep.
we do technology. It saves us time. I think, as more businesses adopt technology, we're very automated. We have that personalised touch point, but lots of automation behind the scenes. I think broking will take over the industry. I think banks will be, in 5 years, less than 15%.
Do you think it's because it feels a bit confrontational for people to meet face to face about talking about this stuff sometimes? About their own finances?
No, I think people are just busy.
Yeah.
I actually think, like you and I catching up face to face is great, right? We could do this and talk about your finances, and I am the sort of person that would make you feel nothing but comfortable with your situation. Because as a broker, we're empathetic, we're relatable, we do all of those things. I think that life admin just takes so much more time.
Yeah.
Like people organising their lives. And we also expect so much more of ourselves. I don't know.
Everything just
we're
goes
complicated
so quick
creatures.
And fast. Yeah. But, it's funny because when you then start looking outside of Australia as well and you look at other countries, like things are just done so differently sometimes with cultures.
Yeah, they are.
And I sometimes think in Australia, like we're so go sometimes, but then also on the other side, sometimes you just don't want to go at all. And I think it's a good thing to reflect on, because if we go, it's only going to keep going faster, and then it's going to get too quick sometimes that momentum is just going to fall off the wheel sometimes. So
I feel like the Gen Zs, the 20-something-year-olds are slowing it down. So when I speak to one of my daughters, she's all about work-life balance. She's about
this is interesting.
Yeah, 6 o'clock's time, her time. She's going to cook her dinner, go to Pilates, do her things, catch up with her friends. We had a conversation last night and she said, some people just look at work and I want to look at connections and the bigger picture and what my life looks like. And I think that's very much that generation. So, and that's why they don't want to see me face to face. They want to talk to me on a Teams because they've got to go to Pilates and cook dinner and be health conscious.
Yeah.
And, and connect with their friends. They don't want to see a broker at their dining table.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and
I
that's
actually
a culture
think that
change.
It is a culture
because
change.
If you go back to, I guess, your parents' generation, it probably just would have been work.
It was work. So then with me working all the time, do you think that I've turned her off work?
Yeah.
She works actually very hard.
Yeah,
but maybe she's gone, I don't want to do that. I want to be more about the balanced part of mum. So, because, during my different cycles, there was the more balanced part of me, the more work part of me. So they've got to see all those different parts, and it's choosing that. But I've just noticed her and all her friends and other people that age, they want to do those things. Even some of the girls I work with, they're in their late 20s and early 30s. They get up and they go to gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Like when I was in my late 20s, we never did that. It was not a thing. I was going to
say, this is a really good point as well in reflection, because one, we've got a generation that's still just come from working. Baby boomers they work their whole life.
So we're clear, I'm not a baby boomer.
No. But then you go across all these other generations, you really got to understand what's coming through next, and that's stepping up, because that's going to be then a focus on how the business grows.
It is. What's my ideal client?
What's understanding,
Yeah. So, and you've got to look at your ideal client. You've got to look at, who the next set of buyers are, who the next set of investors are, and grow your business that way. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Good. I like that.
And I surround myself with young people. So young people have got enthusiasm. They're not jaded. They're hungry to succeed. And I just think they actually make me look good. Literally. Yeah.
But you're staying in touch with what's coming up next.
Yeah.
Because you can get...
And they're my future client.
Yeah, that's right. Well, someone said the other day, why do you post so much on Instagram? And I said, it's not for now. I just know that if I'm not posting on that now, in 10, 20 years' time, when someone is looking to buy property, it might be through Instagram, and that might be the audience they've grown up through that profile.
Yep.
Like you talked about TikTok. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world.
No.
But if you're not on there, you could be forgotten about really quickly.
Yeah.
Newspaper ads may not work anymore.
Oh my God, do they still do them?
Oh yeah, and they cost too. They do.
I'm going to use an example, and I think this is a really good example. It's a very vain example. I look at my Instagram now, and I look at my Instagram 10 years ago, and 10 years ago, I hated how I looked, and I was like half my size, and I look now and I go, oh, gee, I wish I looked like I did 10 years ago. So, I mean, that's just, you look back and you go, oh, that person was amazing. But unless you've got it there to reference, you don't know that. I'm still amazing, but I look back and 10 years ago, it was just different. Yeah.
It's interesting. All right, last question. As a thoughtful leader and advocate for women in finance,
Ooh.
what changes would you like to see in the industry, and how do you see yourself contributing to this evolution?
Look, the majority of my employees are female. I like to uplift young females. I believe females are as capable and if not more trustworthy when it comes to finances. I think that's just perception in the market. I think with our industry, if we can get to 30% female, we'll be doing really well. Like, we don't need to get to 50, but 30. It's actually making what I do seen as a profession. I think that's really big. We're still not an actual profession.
Really?
Well, we don't have a degree that you do. There's no pathway to broking.
True.
So unless you go to a broker, like there are things you have to do. You have to be mentored.
Sure. Yep.
You have to get your certificate for. You don't have to, there's a diploma. You don't have to get the diploma to be accredited with the majority of the banks. So we actually don't have a pathway. So I'm not sure if I want to create a pathway. I don't think that's where I'm going with all of this, but I think it would be great to have a pathway into broking and for it to be something that when people are going, what job would I like to do? Do I want to be a nurse, a police officer, a social media coordinator, a real estate agent? That finance broker rates a mention in the conversation. So
that's really interesting because
isn't it?
When you look at what we do, and I'm in real estate, you're on mortgage brokering, we are looking after someone's journey and possibly one of their biggest assets,
It's
one
their
of the
biggest
financial transaction in their life.
Yep.
And real estate, you could go and get your course done in 2-3 days.
Yep.
And be a real estate agent.
You can get your course done in a week and become a broker. And then you can talk to people about their money.
It's crazy.
Just actually think about that.
It's crazy.
It really is.
Because, medical and everything, we understand, there's a lot to learn behind the human body. But for us, finance is one of the things that probably doesn't get taught too much.
Financial literacy, I think, is something that needs to be lifted. And it really doesn't. It needs to start in schools.
Yeah.
Just talking about savings.
Yeah.
Like, my kids actually asked me a question, and remembering they're, 16 and 17 at the moment. They're almost 17 and 18. And one of them said to me about a year ago, she said, "What's tax?" And I was like, "I talk about these things all the time at home." And she said, "Yeah, but what does it mean to me?" So she understood what it was, but not what it meant for her.
Yeah.
And the poor little thing, she was working 2 jobs because she likes money and she wanted to work 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you don't pay tax at the moment. Then my son got his apprenticeship and he started paying tax. And he's like, I don't want to pay tax. And I'm like, but yeah, financial literacy, raising women to 30% of our industry. And it's just about, making sure women know they can do this job, that it is a job that you can actually work in with your lifestyle. It's still a full-time job. So I don't want people to think you can do it part-time. It's still a full-time job. Looking after someone's largest purchase, probably the most pivotal moment in their life. Remember, buying your first home, you never do that again. Yeah. Like, we love first home buyers because it's a big moment.
It's a leap of faith.
Oh, it's certainly not a moment that is that we underestimate or undervalue. Like, buying your first home's a really big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we love being part of that process.
Love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this out there and don't hate me for it.
Okay.
But everyone, Melissa's going to start her own podcast. Okay? She's going to do it.
Wow.
She just mentioned it before.
Yep.
I think just what you just said now, there would be thousands, millions of listeners for financial literacy growing up from young individuals to, even just young professionals. I think it's just understanding that side of things is huge.
Yeah.
And no one is teaching it.
Yeah,
And
no one
even just
teaches
starting
it really well.
conversations.
And I'd like to have 3 generations. So mine, 30s, 20s, and just look and talk about where we've evolved from. Like some of the things that, my parents do, they use cash to pay for things. Now, I know cash is a thing of the past, but if you want to teach a child how to budget, give them cash.
Yeah.
Because as you go and you tap, 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 it means nothing to them. If I give my kids cash, it lasts twice as long. But we have to teach people about money because otherwise we're going to have generations of kids who have nothing except nice cars and clothes.
Mm-hmm. Because now it's more focused on the material rather than the wealth.
Yes. And it needs to go back to some of the wealthiest people.
Don't show nothing.
They absolutely don't. They wear clothes from Kmart.
Yeah, because
They
it
drive
doesn't mean anything.
Camrys.
Yeah.
Like one of my wealthiest clients, I think his car, like when he pulls up in his car, I just shake my head and I'm like, Angelo, please buy a new car. Oh, it's a waste of money.
Yeah.
I've just bought a new $20 million factory. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
just buy a $5,000 car, mate. Like, but he doesn't care for those things.
Yeah.
He's creating a legacy for his family and that's what is important to him. And so some of those things, some of those learnings, we can't lose them.
Yeah.
We need to hold on to them.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming up from Melbourne. It's a big feat. And also thank you for being the first woman on this podcast, because I think it was important to bring you on and understand your story. And I think smart lending, although, as you said, you've been doing this for 20 years, I think this is going to be something. And I think
It's my
you've
time.
learnt a lot of lessons along the way and
Yeah.
values, and this is cool. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
and,
you for having me.
hopefully the story is shared well.
Thanks so much, Ty.
Thank you.